Welcome to our course on Google Docs. You're learning with Mo Jones, IT professional and educator. We'll spend some time taking a look at this very innovative and modern platform for creating documents. Now, just to kind of get set up here, what is Google Docs if you have not used it before? It is a modern document creation tool. You can create documents like resumes or project proposals or school reports. There is a document for all different types of industries and purposes. We can create and format an online document. So we can go ahead and use all the tools that's necessary to format our document. And we can go ahead and share that with anyone that has access to the World Wide Web. When you're creating a document, whether it's a resume or a project proposal or meeting notes, or even a research paper, you can start from scratch, or you can work with an existing template that gives us some really nice designs and options. We can learn a lot from the templates as well. What will we cover in this course? We'll start off just by getting started. What is Google Docs? What are some best use cases? We'll take a look at the interface and how we can access Google Docs as well. For lesson 2, or part 2 rather, we'll focus on formatting and styling text. In part 3, we'll work with paragraphs and sections. Here's where we start to build the structure of our actual document. And we'll go ahead and insert and manage elements, images, tables, charts. We'll also take a look at the collaborative opportunities. How can we share and how can we collaborate in real time with others? In part 6, we'll take a look at some more templates and styles. We'll learn some keyboard shortcuts and some more of the advanced features and tips. So this is what we have in store for us today. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in. Welcome back. Well, if someone asks you what is Google Docs, well, you can say Google Docs is a modern document creation tool. We have all the tools we need to be able to create a professionally looking document, and we can share with others as needed. We can start from scratch, or we can use an existing template. Now, you may ask, well, why would you want to use Google Docs? Well, a great use case here for Google Docs is you want to collaborate on a document with multiple people in real time. So you want to be able to edit that document at the same time. Whether you're in the same room, on a different floor, in a different city, in a different state, in a different country, doesn't matter. Everyone can work on that document at the same time, and you can see what's going on. You can see where your other colleagues, what they're doing. It's a great way just to be able to work on documents simultaneously. It's ideal for team projects, brainstorming sessions, or situations where quick feedback is necessary, and again, across different locations. So it's a great way just to have everyone have their own kind of experience with the actual document that is being created or modified, and they can work at their own pace. So it's a really, really nice use here. Now, here are some common uses of Google Docs. Team meeting agenda and notes. So someone can be designated as the note taker, or everyone can actually mark up the meeting agenda and notes document. Project proposals. This is a big one. Collaborate on writing and revising a project proposal with your team members. No need to be in the same room and working off, a single physical document. You can work together virtually. Student group assignments. This is a big one. Google Docs is used heavily in higher education and K through 12 as well. So multiple students can work in a document together for a class project. I've had many of my students collaborate on a Google document together before they turn in their work to me. Drafting legal documents. So there's a place for legal as well. Lawyers can work together on contracts or legal documents with real-time feedback. So those are just some common uses and why we want to use Google Docs and exactly what Google Docs is. When we come back, we'll go ahead and jump into lesson 1. We'll open up Google Docs, we'll take a look, have a peek around, and we'll start creating something special. For part one, let's go ahead and get started here. We'll take a look at how we can create and access documents, and we'll take a look at some basic document operations as well. The first thing we want to do is to be able to get to Google Docs. I'm going to be using Google Chrome, and I'll bring my Chrome window over here. So here is my Google Chrome, and we want to go to docs.google.com. So if you just open up your browser and type in docs.google.com, that will allow us to be able to go ahead and open up the main interface here. So I'll go ahead and press enter. And we can see now that we are in the Docs. So here's Google Docs. So a couple of things that I can do here, I can start a new document. Eventually, we do want to click on this option here to start a blank document. We will see some templates here as well, kind of a short list of templates. So we have project proposal, brochure, training proposal, and 3 resumes here as well. You may see different options here, and that's okay. You'll also see your recent documents kind of showing up down here. So anything that you've worked on recently will show up down here as well. Let's take a quick look around here. Let's take a look at the template gallery. So I'll go ahead and click on this button here, and this will open up the gallery for me. And let's go ahead and open up an existing template to just see what we can create, what's possible, and get some ideas here. So I'll go ahead and click here on the template gallery. And we can see we have a lot of templates in here that I can use. Here are resumes, right? So some nice modern looking resumes in here. This one is pretty nice, a business letter. And then we have some personal ones, such as one for recipe or even a pet resume. If you have pets like me, I can do that. I don't think they'll be entering any dog shows in the near future. They're not those kind of pets. All right, we have project proposal. So a lot of work related here, some meeting notes that are in here as well. And you can see what we're seeing here is a lot of color, a lot of organization in these documents. So we can gain some inspiration in here as well. Here we have some graphics that are integrated into a newsletter. A few newsletters in here and an actual brochure that's in here as well. Now, if I keep scrolling down, there's some other ones here. These are add-ons, so we need to do something special to be able to get those. HR related documents, job offer letter. So a lot of options in here for us to use. And then at the bottom, don't know why these are at the bottom, but we have education. So it's an essay, report, MLA. So a lot of options in here. We have a science report in here as well. Well, let's see. I'll go ahead and we just want to go ahead and open one and kind of take a look at the actual interface here. Here's one for a sales quote. No, I don't want that one. That's an add-on. Let's go for, let's see. Let's go for project name. I'll click on this one. And this will open it up for me. So this is Google Docs. We have a file tab over here. So we can create something new, right? We can share with others. We can make a copy. We can email this file if we want to. We can download it to open in Microsoft Word or another type of format. So a lot of different things we can do here. We can pull up the version history. So it's a little different here. If you're used to the other Office applications, you don't see a drop down here, but I still like this drop down feature. So we find things that we can insert in here, such as images, tables, charts, drop downs, smart chips, a lot of really, really nice things in here that we can do. So just from kind of just looking at the interface, we can see a lot of the common tasks that are available for document creation is in here as well. Well, this one has a nice accent here at the top. So this is a shape. And then we have an image placeholder here. You can see image. So we can actually replace this image and make this our own to make it relevant to the actual project name. As I scroll down and as I'm interacting with different elements, you'll see some kind of, some bubbles appear here. So we can suggest edits. We can add comments there as well. If I come down, here's the project name. So we can see that this is using the title style. So once I hover over here, here's the title. So these are styles that are in here. And let's see if I scroll down. So just placeholders, would put the project name in here, the date, my name, and the contact information as necessary. Here's the other accent that's in here. And then down here, we have the overview. So we just need to replace this text with the overview, the goals of the project, the specifications, and then of course, every project needs some milestones. So we can track the milestones in here as well. Over here to the left, we can see the tabs and outlines. So this is like a table of contents. If I click here, it allows me to jump to different places in the document. So if I click on where it says project name, this is because it's using a style. So it's using the title style. So any heading styles that are being used, they will appear here on the tab, which is another way of just saying table of contents or navigation here. If I click on overview, I can see overview is using the heading 1 style. And so this is the key to having an organized document. Right? Let's see, this one here is kind of indented over. So this is most likely a heading 2 or heading 3. So a few of these are indented over to the right. Let's click on there. I'll click on this one here. And there you go. So we can see this is a heading 2. So it just gives us some structure in our actual document. So this is pretty nice. We have nice colors in here. I like the color scheme. The colors are simple, but they work together really, really well. So really, really nice option in here. Right. We have the headers in here. We can see the page number at the top right. Typically the first page, this is like a cover page. So this doesn't really have a header here. But if I were to add more pages, this would automatically change or display the corresponding page number on the top right. In addition to the menu here, so we have formatting, tools, extensions. So everything is here that we need. Up on the top right, we can take a look at the edits. We can show the comments. We can even go ahead and share. Right? So we can go ahead and share. We have different sharing options. We can share for view only, or we can share for edit access. We can also collapse the menu. So if I click here, this just gives me a little more space to work with. But if I want to put it back, I can just click here and it shows the actual menus here as well. So this is pretty nice. So we'll see how we can create a document that looks something like this. At the end of the course, we would have incorporated images, charts, tables, some of these different text styles in here as well, and a lot of formatting, headers, and footers as well. So go ahead and explore this template and come right back. Welcome to part 2. So we'll take a look at formatting and styling text. So I'll go back to my Google Docs here, and I can either close this one here just by clicking on the close button here for this tab, or if I click on the file tab here, I can go ahead and create a new document. I'll just go ahead and create a new document here. And we can see that this is untitled, and we'll get some help here, just kind of reminding us that we can use tabs to be able to organize our document. I'll go ahead and click on got it here. I'm good to go. We don't have a title in here yet. Let's go ahead and create a project. Right? So let's just call this project tracking. Right? So we're good to go. We can see it saves automatically. There's no save button here. All the changes that I make, they're saved in real time. So I'm good to go. My work will always be here. I cannot lose my work. Now, before we start creating anything, we have some templates in here. So we can actually click here and we have meeting notes, right? So if I just kind of hover over meeting notes, we can see it's inserting a chunk of text for me, the date, the calendar, the attendees, the notes, and the action items. So pretty nice. Let's see, an email draft. I can go ahead and draft an email. Then I have more in here as well. I'll go ahead and click on more. Let's see what options are available here. And this is really cool. And this is what I was saying, that this is a modern document creation experience. A lot of really nice options in here. So we can literally just insert all these different chunks of text, right? For project management. Let's see what we have available here for project management. So here's the review tracker. So I can insert this review tracker here, and you can see I have some dynamic columns here that I can work with. I can specify the reviewer, the status, and the notes. What about project assignments? So a lot is in here that I can use to successfully track a project. So pretty nice. I can track assets, and we're good to go. But we can do that later. I'm going to go ahead and click on the Close tab. If I click on the Insert tab, I can go ahead and access the building blocks right here later on. So let's just go ahead and add some text, right? So I can start just adding some text in here. Now, if you want to, we can go ahead and I'll just put the name. I'll just call this project tracking. And then what I'd like to do first is just kind of set up the shell, right? Set up all the different parts of my document here. I do have a notepad item. It's called file number 1, project template. And you can use this as a guide. So just to save time, I'll go ahead and just copy and put some of the information in here. I just want some of the basic information. Let's see, I may add some of these later, but for now, I do want the name, the presenter name, the description of the project goals, and I'll also go for the, so I'll actually go ahead and grab all of this here. Let's see if I can just, I'll enter a line here and I will right click and let's see if I can paste in here. Now, if I paste it, it's going to bring over the formatting from wherever I pasted. So what I'm going to do is use the paste without formatting option. And this will just kind of give me the default format for my document here. So there we go. So you can see it looks uniform, looks like the rest. And there we go. Right? So just a few parts in here. So let's go ahead and make some changes here. Now, I do want things to stand out. I do want to create sections in here. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight my project tracking. This is the title. And right up here, I have some basic text formatting that I can use. Under styles, this is what I want to grab. I want to go ahead and grab this here. And what I would like to do is give it the title style. So I'll go ahead and click on title. We can see the title style has its own, predetermined formatting. The size is 26. Right. And then down here for the description, I'll give this a heading 1. So I'll click on heading 1 for there. And now as I'm adding these styles, you can see that my tabs here, or my table of contents, or my navigation is starting to be created. For the project goals, that's also going to be a heading 1. And then finally for the description, that's also going to be a heading 1. So pretty cool. So I already have the structure of my document in here, and I can start entering some information in here. And then if I need more content later on, we're going to be building on this. But for now, I just want these 4 main sections: project tracking, description, project goals, and the description here as well. So go ahead and enter these first couple of sections. Go ahead and apply the styles as necessary. If you want to go ahead and style out the other parts here, so for the project name, the font is a little small. I'll go ahead and increase the font size to 12. And I'll do the same here. Just make it a little bigger. You can also zoom in if you want to. So if you click on the settings here, you can always zoom in. That will make the text look a little bigger. So it's up to you. But I want it to be at least size 12. So I'll just triple click a line to select all the text on that line. I'll go ahead and make that size 12 here. So go ahead and enter the details in here. Go ahead and put in a project name, company name, presenter name, and fill out this information and come right back. Welcome back. So far, we're able to create a new document, add the structure of our document in here, and we're able to use some styles such as the title and the heading 1 styles as well. Now, let's go ahead and continue. We'll take a look at some of the different font commands here. So we have everything that we need right here to be able to format the text. We've already taken a look at the headings. Let's go ahead and choose the font that we want for our document here. We can adjust the size as necessary. And we have the basic formatting commands here: bold, italicize, underline. We can choose the text colors if we want to. We want to add some colors in here. And then we'll head on over to some more paragraph commands, such as we can specify the alignment, the paragraph spacing. We can convert this into a bulleted list if we want to. And we have some clear formatting over here. So we'll go from right to left. We'll take a look at some of these different formatting options. So I did enter some information in here. So project name is Track My Projects. The company name is Solutions by Mimi. And the presenter is Mo Jones. The description is to track all of the projects and related tasks for our client. As far as the project goals, we want to record, track, and report on all projects, not just a specific project. All the projects are under the umbrella of the organization, and the goals are relative to each project in here as well. Okay, well, the first thing I want to do, I want to go ahead and change the font. So I'm going to highlight all of my text here. Let's see if I can press Control A. Yeah, so if I press Control A on my keyboard, that highlights all the text for me. And let's see what options I have available. I do like the Georgia font, so I can change it to any one of these fonts here that's available. It's not going to change the size. Everything will remain the same size, but everything will have its own, have the same font in here. So I'll choose Georgia. And that looks good. I like the way the Georgia font looks here. So it's pretty modern, very, very nice. And we're good to go. So now, as I enter more information, we'll see that it's going to stay within the Georgia font. It's not going to default back to the Arial. So the nature of documents is it continues the formatting from above. Okay, so I'm good to go. I already have my font in here. And let's go ahead. Let's see. The size is okay for now. That's fine. And maybe I want to go ahead and make some of these different sections bold. Right? So maybe for the description, let's see, I'll make that bold. We can see it just stands out a little more. I'll go ahead and click here. Right. So it just kind of makes it stand out a little bit. Right. If I don't like what I did, I can just undo it. I can click on the undo button here a few times, and that, so if you ever make a mistake, just undo. You can also press Control Z on your keyboard to go ahead and undo it. Okay, well, what I want to do is the text that's in here, that's in between my headers here, I don't want to give them a particular color. If I click on the text color here, I have two options. I can either choose an existing color. So here's some colors in here that I can use if I want to. Down here, if I'm not finding what I'm looking for, I can click on Add a Custom Color. And this will allow me to either enter the RGB value of the color that I'm looking for, or if I have the hex number, I can go ahead and add the hex number there as well. So this is the benefit of working with a template. I'll go back to the template that we looked at earlier. And if I were to select some text, and if I click on the color down here, so notice that this template is using a specific set of colors. So here's the custom color palette for this particular template. So this just makes sure that we're sticking to these theme colors here. So these colors work together well. And so that's why we have that option there as well. Now, if I hover over one of those colors, you can see right there, it's giving me the hex number for that color. So this is close to light green 14. The hex value is B3A77D. So there's many different places where you can find colors. A lot of websites, free websites, will provide different color codes, either the RGB value or the hex value there as well. So we do have the capability. The other option is if I want to go ahead and just add a custom color, I can click right here which says pick a custom color. And let's say I want to add this, this nice light blue up here. So if I click there, we can see it did add that as a custom color down here. I did not necessarily want to, change this to that color. It's very difficult to see. So let's see, I'll click on clear formatting. Let's see if that will clear the color for me. I'll highlight that chunk of text. Click on clear formatting. And there you go. So it just kind of resets it back to the default size and the default color. Unfortunately, I do want this to be 12, so I'll go ahead and make this 12 here again. Right. So at this point, you're going to go ahead and choose the actual colors that you want to go ahead and use. Right. So let's say I want all of my heading 1s here to be a nice orange color. So I'll go for this orange here. And I'll also go ahead and make it bold. Well, let's see if I can make all of the other ones that same one as well. So I'll click on Update Heading 1 to match. And let's see if that will convert all of my heading 1s to that orange bold color here. So if I click here, and look at that, it does. So that's a nice quick way to update all of your headings. Just go ahead and, so it's almost like we just created our own heading style, right? And there we go. So just go ahead and update go ahead and update that heading and use the Update Heading 1 to match, and that will update all of your headings for you. Okay, I'll move on over here. Okay, so these, I do want these to be a different color. Let's see, I'll go for a darker blue. See what that will look like. That's a little too blue. So I'm good to go. Let's see. Okay, that's fine. I'll leave those. Go ahead and choose whatever color you want. That's perfectly fine. I'll leave these as is. And next thing I want to do, now I'll move on over to the right here. And we'll see that we have some bulleted lists in here. Now I did copy and paste the data from here. So this looks like it's a bulleted list, but it's actually not. Notice when I click on it, we can see that the bulleted list is not active. So when I copied and pasted this, it did not copy correctly. So I'm going to delete that space there. So I'll just press the backspace key a few times. And then I'll go ahead and highlight, and I want to convert this into a bulleted list. So I'll click here, and there you go. So now it's a bulleted list. And if I want to add another item, it's going to add another bullet for me. Now we can see down here, here's an example. This looks like a bulleted list, but it's not. If I press the Enter key, it's not adding another bullet for me. So I know that something is wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same here. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to just insert a bullet. If I left that bullet in there and tried to add a bullet, it just looks like there's 2 bullets. So it's a little weird. So I can just go ahead and delete that. So either which way you want to do it. Now I can press the Enter key, and we can see it creates another bullet here for me as well. All right. Let's see if I can move this back closer to the margin. Nope, can't go back any further. That's fine. All right, excellent. So now if I want to, I can create a level 2 items. So this is a list. So that top line is level 1. I can create a level 2 item. Right. So here's kind of the high goal. And then here are the sub goals of that particular goal. So I have level 1. And then I have some level 2 items down here as well. Great. My spell checker is giving me some options here. So I'll go ahead and do that. And I'll move these over as well. So just organizing the document and using the different commands that are available here. Last thing I'll do is the paragraph spacing. I'll go ahead and press Control A. And right here is the line and paragraph spacing. So right now it's using 1.15. I want it to be a little smaller, so I'll use single. And we can see it just kind of removes a lot of the empty space in between these lines here as well. So I'm good to go. So those are some of the basic formatting commands that we can use. Welcome back. Let's take a look at part 3 here, working with paragraphs and sections. We did start off with some paragraph formatting. We're able to select all of the content on our document and choose the paragraph spacing there as well. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the sections and the page layout options that are available in the Google Docs. Now, we did press Control A and we chose the paragraph spacing for the entire document. So you can do that, or you can just select a chunk of text and specify the paragraph spacing just for that chunk of text, right? So either the entire document or based on your selection. So I'll use 1.5 for here as well. Let's go ahead and click on the File tab. So if I click on the File tab here, not a lot that we can do right now. We don't want to share it yet. We don't want to email, download. We don't want to add it to Drive. The things that we can do right now, if I click on Page Setup, this will give me some options. So you'll notice right at the top, right now I do have pages. I only have one page right now. And we can see the paper size right now is letter, so 8.5 by 11. So I can choose the paper size if I want to. Maybe I want legal in here. So I can go ahead and choose legal right here if I want to. I can go ahead and change the page color. Right? So we can take a look at the different page colors that are available. And then we can specify the margins. Maybe I want to use more of the space. Right? There's a lot of unused space over here because of the margins. So let's see if I can make this smaller, maybe a half instead of 1 inch. This way I have more room to work with on my actual document. So let's change the paper size first. So I'll go ahead and change this to legal. I often use tabloid. Since I'm not actually printing, I typically don't print these. I use tabloid. This gives me a lot of space to work with, especially when you're inserting images and tables that can span the entire width of the document. But I'll choose legal here. And I'll also change it to landscape. Let's see what that looks like. So landscape is just going to give it a more wide orientation. Actually, you know what? I'm going to leave it on letter and just simply change it to landscape. And let's see what that looks like. So I'll go ahead and press OK. So you can see it's just a little wider now. So not really relevant here, right? Once I start adding some images and charts and tables in here, we can see how the landscape orientation is going to work really well for us. I'll go back in there. I'll go back into page setup. Let's change the margins on the left. Let's see if I can make this a half instead. And on the right, let's see if this will work for me. I'll go ahead and press OK. If this works, it should move my content over closer to that left margin there, so I can use a little more space on the canvas. And there we go. So the margins, right? Smaller margins allow you more room to work. Still have a pretty big margin here at the top. That's fine because we'll insert a nice header in there later on as well. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'll go back in there one more time, and this time I'll click on page setup. I'll put it back to portrait. I'll leave the margins alone. I'll go ahead and change the page color. So let's say I want more of a, let's see, I have blue and orange in here. I don't want something that's going to clash too much. I'll go for a, say, really light, a dull yellow. And I'll go for a dull white. I'll go ahead and press OK. And there you go. So we can see we can change the entire color of the page there as well. All right, I'll go back. Page setup. I will remove the, let's see what a black page looks like. Let's see how the colors look on a black page. Let's see if it will change the text to white for me. And it does not. All right, so the other colors look fine. It looks more like a web page now, but I'm good to go. I'll go back and just put it back to no color. And I'll just put it back to white, actually. The other option here is pageless. So if I click on pageless, this is a really nice option. So right here, it tells us the pageless format allows us to add wide images and tables and consume content without the interruption of page breaks. Right. Let's see what that looks like. So we can see here is just kind of like an endless scroll. We don't really have like pages in here. Right? So we can just kind of keep on going and keep on adding content here. I'll click on File and I will click on Print. Let's see what this looks like. So it's just going to continue to grow without actually having pages in here. Right. Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll go back and I'll put that back to pages. I'll leave it here as letter, and I'll go ahead and press OK. This is page 1 of our document. I do want to add another page. So I can keep pressing the enter key, and that will actually add another page for me. So if I just keep adding enter, eventually gets to the end, and it's going to insert another page. So here's page 2. But I don't necessarily have to do it that way. That's kind of the long way to do it. Let me just go ahead and undo all of those changes. If I click on the Insert tab, a lot of things we can insert. We'll insert some things in just a little bit here. What we want to do is to insert another page and set that page up so that we can add our images, our charts, and our tables to that page. So I'll click on the Insert tab here. So I want to make sure I'm on that last line of the current page. I'll click on Insert. And let's see, if I head on down to break, I can insert a page break. I can also just press Control Enter. What that does is it pushes the content down to the top of the next page. So you want to be careful. You want to make sure that you are on a blank line. So for example, if I wanted to push my description here down to the next page, I can say push that down to its own page. And I can do that. Right? But in this case, I'm going to press enter a few times. I want to break away from this list. And then I can go ahead and insert an actual page break. Now we have another option here, which is called a section break. So let's go ahead and insert the section break, and let's see what happens when I do that. Okay, so this inserted another page, but everything looks the same. Well, let's see what I can do here. I'll go back to that page setup tab. And notice now, because I've created a section, this used to say just, the whole document or based on the selection. But now I can apply changes to just this section or this page. Let's see if I can just change the color. Nope, not letting me change the color there. What can I do? I can have my own custom margins. I'll make this landscape and I'll go ahead and press OK. And look at that. So now we have page 1, section 1. It has the portrait orientation and the size is 8.5 by 11. Now we have page 2, which is section 2. And section 2 now has the landscape orientation and it still has the same paper size, 8.5 by 11. So what is the benefit of inserting a section break? When you insert a section break into your document, that section can have its own specific formatting. So in this case, we can change the page size and the orientation. So now this page is ready. It's a little wider. We can add our charts, our images, and our tables in here as well. Let's start taking a look at the Insert tab, and let's see if there's some different things in here that we can insert. We are going to insert images and tables as well. We may insert a quick chart as well. But for now, we have some other things while we're talking about page setup. We have headers and footers. So I can go ahead and insert a header. So I'll go ahead and click here. So here is the header space. So notice how it opens up that header space for me here at the top. And from here, I can go ahead and add my content in here. Now, I can go ahead and add whatever I want. So let's see, maybe I'll go ahead and maybe this section here will be for, let's say, adding content. Right. And let me just click away from there. So I can just go ahead and let's see if I can press the enter key. So that gets me out of the header. And here's the header space. So notice I can't really interact with it. If you want to get back into the header space, you can double click at the top and that opens up the header space for us. Right. So that's how we can insert headers. We can see it's also been added here on this page as well. If I were to insert another page, so I'll go ahead and use the insert a page break. You can see that every time we add another page, that header is going to be showing up on that page as well. So let's see if I can manage this one. Maybe I'll center align this one here, and I'll just make it italicized. Okay. Let's see if that change has been made to all of them. We can see that they have been made to all of them here as well. Well, what if I want another header? I'll go ahead and double click in here. And let's see if there are any options here. Not really. I mean, I can add the page number. Maybe I like the page number on, let's say, the top right there. So here is the page number. Let's see if I can move that over to the right. All right, so there's page 1, here's page 2, and here's page 3. All right. Maybe I want the page number to be on the bottom. So I'll click on Insert, and I'll go ahead and insert a footer. And for the footer, here's where we have our page numbers. So I'll go ahead and put the page number down here. I'll go for this one. And we're going to align that to the right. All right. So there's our page number. And I'm going to remove, let's see if I can remove this header, because I want to go ahead and add something new in there. So lots of clicking here. I'll go back to the header, and maybe I'll just go ahead and put the name of the document. So I'll call this project tracking. So there you go. So project tracking, and maybe I'll put that all the way to the far right. Line it to the far right here. And headers are typically, just kind of not visible. They're kind of subtle. So I don't want to make it bold. I'm not going to change the color. I'll just make it italicized. And if I scroll down, I can see that appears at the top of each page here as well. If I want a different first page, so this will remove the header from the first page, and it will appear on all of my other pages as well. So we do have that option if we want to. And I'll leave it turned on for all of my pages here. I'll press the escape key. There you go. So we have my header and we have my footer here. So we are good to go. For part 4, we'll go ahead and insert some images, some tables, and some charts. I'll go back to my page 2 here. So remember, page 2 has the landscape orientation. Allows us to add some big tables and charts and images in here as well. I'll go ahead and insert a simple table just to be able to track some of the tasks or projects. So I'll click on the Insert tab here. And you can see right here, we can insert images, tables, charts. Right now I want a table. Now I can choose an existing table. We have some pre-built tables, which are really, really cool. For example, here's a review tracker. If I click on View More, so here are meeting notes that I can insert. As far as project management, here's a project assignment that I can go ahead and use, which is pretty cool, right? So lots of different dynamic tables that we can go ahead and add. So that's there for us if we need to use it. We can just go ahead and change the names and go ahead and edit it as well. But let's go ahead and insert a table from scratch. So I'll click on the Insert tab here, and I'll go for a 4x4 table. Okay. Now, here's my 4x4 table. So I'll go ahead and just add some detail in here. I want to go ahead and track the owner of the project and the name of the project. And let's see, maybe the status of the project, and then maybe the due date of the actual project. Right. So I'll start by adding my information in here. So we've got a few project owners, and then I've got so now I can go ahead and type in the information manual in here if I want to. But what I would like to do, let me go ahead and close these over here. What I'd like to do is go ahead and insert some drop downs, right? I can insert some nice drop downs in here to be able to track it. So for the project, I'll go ahead and do that here. Right, so I'll click on the Insert tab, and I'll go for a drop-down. And there's some built-in drop-downs in here, such as I can create a new drop-down if I want to, or I can use an existing one. So I have, let's see, project status. And I have, well, this one here will be the status. So I'll insert the drop-down for here. So this will be for the project status. And so it already inserts it in there for us. So we have, not started, blocked, in progress, or completed. For the due date, I'll add another one as well. So a drop down here. Okay, this one actually is going to be different. I'm going to insert what's called a smart chip. And this will be a date picker. So we can just click on a small calendar and add the date. So I'll use the smart chip for this one. And I'll use today's date, and I'll press OK. Right. So pretty cool. The only thing with this is, it only does it for one cell. So what I'm going to do, typically you would get this kind of set up before you start entering data in here. So I'm going to delete these 2 rows. And so I'll right click, and I'm going to delete these 2 rows. Let's see if I add another row, if this will automatically include these 2 dynamic interactive boxes for me. So I'll go ahead and right click. I want to insert a row below. And there you go. So as we insert rows, it does add those for us. So I'll go ahead and add another one here. I'll insert another row below. And now I can go ahead and enter some information. Okay, so I'll go ahead and add Adele in here. And I'll go ahead and add Grady. So I'll say this one is in progress. This one has not started. That's fine. And Grady, this is also in progress. This one is due. So I'll go ahead and click on the, let's see. I'll click here, and let's say this one is due on March 31st. Right? I can even set a time if I want to, but that's okay. And then for Adele, this one has not started yet. So we know that it needs to be completed by the end of February. So I'll put that detail in here. 28th, and I'll press OK. And Grady's needs to be finished right at the beginning of the second quarter, so April 1st. Press OK here. So we're good to go. So I'll go ahead and add another row at the top, and then I'll go ahead and merge those columns together. This way I can go ahead and add a title. So I'll right click on that top row. I'll insert a row above. And now I want to merge those cells. So I'll go ahead and highlight all of them. And I'll right click. It's really nice. We can do a lot of right clicking to access a lot of these commands. So I'll click on merge cells, and I'll call this one project updates. I'll go ahead and center align that text. And I'll go ahead and make it bold, and I'll increase the size so it stands out here. I do also want to change the color. So if I click right here towards the end of my menu where it says more, this should give me some simple table tools that I can use. So I'll click here, and here's the fill color. So I'll go for a cornflower blue, and I'll make the text white. For that second row here, I want this to be a different shade of that color, so a lighter version of that color, and I'll make that text bold as well. So pretty nice looking table. So those are the basics with working with a table, just inserting or deleting rows and columns. If I want to delete the table, I can right click and I can delete the table, and we're good to go. Right? We can also specify the alignment for the entire table. If I click here, I can go to table options, and here are just some quick layouts for the table, such as aligning the text to the center, right? Some other commands in here, and the color. So we're good to go. And so go ahead and build your table. and come right back. Let's take a look at some images here. If I click on the Insert tab, I can either upload images from my computer, I can search the web, or I can search my drive, my photo gallery, take a picture, or by URL. I'm going to go ahead and search the web. Now let's see if I can find something related to project management. So here are a few pictures, right? So project management that I can use. So lots of really nice visuals in here that I can use. Just want something that's relevant. I want something more that's just kind of mimics an icon. I'll go ahead and click on this one here. I'll go ahead and insert that. And there we go. Pretty nice looking picture, right? Once I click on the picture, you'll notice the menu has some, to the far right, we have some image options here. So we can crop the image. We have image options, and we can go ahead and replace the image as well. Right. Let's see if I can actually go ahead and add this into one of these cells in the table. Let's see if I can drag it. Maybe I'll add another column here to the right. Let's see. You know, I'll just insert another row below. And let's see if I can drag this in there. And look at that, I can, which is pretty cool. So I can drag my image right there inside the table, just for more for more context. So it's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to drag it back out. And the image doesn't always behave properly. Right? I'm just trying to move it from right to left. It's kind of hard to do that. Right now, it's coming in with the inline option. So let's say if I change this to either wrap text or behind text or in front of text, I'm going to use wrap text. And let's see if this will allow me to move it freely now. Now I can move it freely, right? Just keep in mind the text, if you have text around it, it will distort your text. So if I move it back up to, let's say up here, notice how it's kind of breaking up the text here, right? All right, so just change the wrapping and then we can go ahead and adjust it. I'll go ahead and make this a little bigger. Just want to go down a little more so I don't go down to the next page. And maybe I want to go ahead and, maybe crop this. I don't really need all that space on the outside here. So I can go ahead and crop this. I'll go ahead and make this smaller. So I'll click on the cropping tool, crop image right here. And I'm just going to go ahead and move some of that detail. And this allows me to make it wider so I can fill out more of the space here. Once I'm done, I'll go ahead and click away from it. Now, I can go ahead and make it a little wider. And we can see right there, that red line, I'm hitting the footer. If I make it any larger, it's going to go down to the next page, which is not what I want to do, right? So, looks okay. I'll crop it a little more because I'd like for it to fill out the entire space. So I'll just go for those two lines there. I'll go ahead and make it as wide as my table. There we go. Not the best quality image. You can see as we resize it, kind of loses some of the pixelation there, but that's okay. Let's see what I have here in terms of image options. So we have the size and rotation. So I can rotate it, or I can specify the height and the width manually. Let's see the position. Nothing much there. I can recolor it. This is pretty interesting. Let's see. Maybe I want to make it more black and white. I can do that. I'm going to undo that. And as far as adjustments, I can increase the brightness or the contrast. Let's see if I make it a little brighter. Okay, so we can do that as well. I can also reset it if I've made a mess of things. And so those are just some of the basic options here. If I right click on the picture, just a repeat of what we see here, replace the image, reset the image, image options. And let's see, I can change it to portrait. So this should It doesn't really work. Portrait should kind of give it more of a square orientation instead of a rectangle, but that didn't really work there. So those are the basics when working with an image, right? Let's see if I can replace the image. I'll click on replace image. I'll search the web. Let's see if I can find a better looking image there. This one looks pretty good. I'll go ahead and replace it with this one. Right, so that looks okay. Still not the best quality. So I would probably just, look for a picture and upload it myself. Kind of surprising these are not as high quality as I thought they would be. But those are the basics when inserting an image. The main thing is to change the way it interacts with the text. Once we change it from inline, you can move it freely. Let's go ahead and add a chart visual. I'll scroll down to page 3. Now page 3 has the portrait orientation, so I want to go ahead and change that. I'll go back to the page setup here, and I'll go ahead and change this to landscape. Now I can just make this page, so this is page 3, section 3, or going forward, I can just apply the landscape orientation to any pages that I add in the future. For now, I'll just leave it just for this section only. I'll go ahead and press OK. Here's our landscape. Let's go ahead and insert a chart. We'll insert a pie chart just to kind of keep track of the expenses for our project so far. So I'll click on the Insert tab, and here are charts. Well, I want a pie chart. We can change it to another type of chart later on. For now, let's just go ahead and insert a pie chart. And here's the pie chart, and it defaults to this points scored in 4 teams. Well, let's go ahead and change it. If you scroll up here, or if you click on the chart rather, on the top right, I'll click on the linked chart options, and I can go ahead and open up the source. So a Google Sheet was created that has the data for this chart. I'll go ahead and open up that source. And this is where I can go ahead and make all the changes to the chart and actually go ahead and change the data as well. So I'll just put some projects in here. So this will be the name of the project. This is going to be project 1. And you can see it's already kind of being updated here, right? Here's project 1 that we just made. So any changes we make right here to the small list, it's going to go into display on our chart right away. So I'll go ahead and just fill out some more details in here. Okay, so I have 4 projects. I'm tracking the expenses. I'll go ahead and make these, I'll change these numbers here to 24,000. Sorry about that. 12,000 and 38,000. We can see our pie chart is already building here. I'll go ahead and change these to the currency format. And so here is our pie chart. Well, it looks pretty good and it works really well. If I go back to my Google Doc here, I do need to update. So if I click on this update option here, this will update the actual chart for me. So we can see we have project in here. Well, let's go ahead and do a few things. Let's go ahead and change the name. Maybe we'll go ahead and center align the chart title. Let's add a background color, and let's go ahead and change the font. Maybe make this a donut, and maybe make it a 3D pie chart as well. So I'll go back to the to the Google Sheet here. You can always just click here and go back. I already have the source open, so I'll go here. And I'll go ahead and click on the 3 dots here to the top right, and I will click on Edit Chart. Now, once I click on Edit Chart, we have the Setup tab, and we also have the Customize tab. So here in the Setup is where we can change it to a different type of chart. So we have column charts, bar charts, line charts, right? Here's a donut chart. Some other charts are in here. They're available as well. Here's a gauge. Here's a geo chart. So lots of different charts in here that we can use. Down here, I'm going to go ahead and click on Customize. And let's take a look at the chart style. Let's see what we can do here. I can change the background color. So I'll go ahead and change the background color. I'll go for a black background. And I want to use the 3D option here. So looking pretty good so far. I'll go ahead and make this a little bigger so that we can see it. And that's it for the chart style. For the pie chart, here's the donut hole. So if I make this 25%, there's a little hole in our donut. I'll make that 50%. It's our donut hole here. And for the slice label, what do we want to be displayed on the actual slices? So in here, we can display some data. We can display the label. Well, let's see what that looks like. I'll display the label. So this is the actual project. It's kind of duplicating it here though. What about the value? So here's the value, 24,000. Of course, we have the percentage, which is already being showed here. So I'll just go for the actual value. And I can change the font color if I want to. It's kind of blending in right now. Maybe I'll go for a white like that. And I'll make that italicized, make it bold as well. So that's the pie chart. If I go down to the pie slice, I can actually change the color for each of my projects. So for example, project 1 has this color. Where's my project 1? Right here. So I can change it to another color if I want to. Maybe I want that to be, I don't know, purple. So I can do that. Go ahead and undo that. So we can do that. And we can also specify the distance from the center. So we kind of get a, we have a little, it's kind of being pulled away from the donut here. I think what I'll do, the largest value, I'll go ahead and pull that away from the center. So I'll go ahead and undo that. And for project 4, it's a little hard to see it right now. I'll go ahead and pull that away from the center. And there we go. All right, so that's just one option. It does get rid of my percentages though. So I'll put the percentages back here. And then for the chart axis and titles, here's where I can change the title. It says points scored right now. So I'll just call this one project expenses. So again, we're just kind of going through all of the customization options here to see what's available. I'll go ahead and center align the title and I'll make it bold. And I'll also change the color to, let's see, title text color. There we go. So I'll go for, let's say, an orange. That looks okay. And then we have the, let's see. Yeah, so we can change the font if we want to as well. So if you want to go for another font, I'll go for the Georgia font. See, that takes place there. And then for the legend, so the legend will be what's being displayed over here. I do want to change the color, so I'll change the color to orange as well. There we go. And I'll also make that bold. I'm on a black background here, so I'll make that bold as well. So that is looking pretty good. Right. Now I'll go back to my Google Doc here and I'll update the chart. And there it is. Right. So we can resize the chart if we want to. Again, we want to show charts, so we can use the landscape orientation here. And we're good to go. So if we want to make any changes to the chart in the future, if I close this sheet, I simply just need to click here and click on open source and go back to that chart. Let's see if I can change the chart type. I'm going to click on the chart here. Give me 1 second. And under the setup, let's go for another type of chart, maybe a column chart. Right. So this shows the expenses. And so if we wanted to add more data, move the chart out of the way, right? So maybe add another column in here, maybe, month 1 and month 2 expenses. This will update the chart for us as well. Right? So there's a lot of granular options in here when we are working with the actual chart, but this is where we need to go to make any changes or customizations as well. I'll go ahead and change this to a, let's see, I'll change this to a stack column. Not really much there. I'll go for a bar chart. So there you go. That's how we add, that's how we insert a chart, add our data, and customize the chart as well. A great benefit of using Google Docs is collaboration and sharing. Now, we can go ahead and share our Google Doc with anyone, anywhere in the world that has access to Google Docs. And so we can collaborate in real time, which means that we can both have the file open at the same time. We can be making changes, whether we're sitting on the same computer in the same room, or in a different office, different building, different city, different state, or even different country. So when we are sharing, we'll be asked a few questions. Who do we want to share the file with? And what type of access do we want them to have? I'll go back to my Google Docs here. I'm back on page 1. So we're able to add some content on here. I'll go back to page 1. Now on the top right, you'll see the share icon. So right here, we can click on the share icon, and this portion will provide us with the capability to email, to send the access to the file via email. If we click on the arrow right here, this will give us the capability to copy the link to the clipboard, and then we can go ahead and share the link here as well. So why would you want to share a link versus the email? Well, if you're in a meeting, let's say you're in a Google Meet meeting, you can go ahead and put the link in the chat, and everyone can go ahead and just click on the link and access the file. Otherwise, you'd have to type everyone's email individually to be able to do that. So that's where the link comes into handy. So if I just move my mouse here, and right now it's telling me it's only private to me. So anything that we create on Google Docs, it's private to you until you actually share it, right? You don't have to share it, but when you're ready to share it, we have the dialog here ready for us. If I click on copy a link, this will open up the dialog for me. Now, once I click on the share button here, it's going to open up a dialog for me, and I can go ahead and determine who I want to share the file with via email and what type of access I want them to have, right? So there's kind of different access that we can have: editing, suggesting, or view only, right? I'll go ahead and click on the share icon here. So once I clicked on the share icon, here's the dialog that opens. So I can add the email address in here. I can type a message down here if I want to. So I'll just say, please edit this file on page 1, right? Or page 1 of this file. So this is who I am sharing the file with. I need to go ahead and specify the type of rights that I want them to have. So if I click on this drop down, so they can view the file, so they cannot make any changes to it. Any changes that I make, they will see the changes in real time, but they just won't be able to make any changes or edit. It's very common to send it just view only. We have commenters, so they can leave comments in here. And we also have the editor in here as well. Right? So I'll go ahead and just leave it on editor, and I'll go ahead and press send. Again, here I can copy the link right here as well. I can click on the settings option here for some more advanced sharing options. But for right now, I just want to go ahead and press send. So I get a message here. It says you're sending an invitation to, this is a fictitious email address. Since there's no Google account associated, anyone holding this invitation will have access without signing in, right? So pretty cool. I'll go ahead and click on share anyway, and I'll be ready to collaborate. Now, once I've done that, I can see that the access has been updated. And if you take a look at the share icon now, you'll see that the share icon now has a little indicator there that is being shared with at least one person here as well. Now, if I want to, I can go ahead and turn off the sharing. I can go ahead and just click back on that share button, and I can stop sharing the actual document. So anyone that currently has a link, if they try to use the link, it will not work for them. So you may need to remove someone's access and you'll be good to go. Well, let's see what this looks like. I'll go ahead and get this set up so that we can take a look and see how the real-time collaboration looks from two different accounts. Here we go. So this is what real-time collaboration looks like. So on the left, here is my account. And over here on the right, here is the account that I just shared it with, right? So we can see we have a small indicator here. We can see that one person is in here collaborating. And from my other account, I can see it here as well. Little indicators here in terms of who's doing what and where they are in the place of the document. And so we're good to go. So let's say I'm the collaborator here. I'll go ahead and press the enter key and I'll just go ahead and add some more details in here. And you can see right here, you can see Mo Jones, both accounts, is making an edit right here as well. Or maybe I'll just go ahead and make a small update here. I'll go ahead and let's see if I can find, I'll go ahead and convert this to a heading 3. And we can see the change has been up here as well. On this one, I'll go ahead and convert this one to a heading 3. Right. And we're good to go. So what I can do is I can go ahead and I can insert a comment so I can see the change here. So if I click on the show all comments here, I can go ahead and add a comment. So I'll go ahead and add a comment and I'll just say, why was this changed to H3? And I'll go ahead and click on comment. If I come back over here, I can see an indicator right here that a comment has been posted. So I'll click on show all comments and there it is. So now what I can do is I can click on this comment and I can reply, or I can just add a new one if I want to. I'll just go ahead and reply and I'll just say testing out the formatting. I'll say, how does it look? I'll go ahead and reply. So now this is pretty cool. So we can just kind of have this dialogue going back and forth as we're working together on this particular file. So no need to pick up the phone. We can just go ahead and comment right in here as well. I'll go ahead and just reply and I'll just say looks good. Go ahead and click on reply there and I'm good to go. So that's what real-time collaboration is all about. Step 1 is just sharing the file. And step 2, determining, providing editor access to the individual that you shared the file with, and working on the file together, just communicating using the chat to communicate. That's one way. There's other ways to communicate as well. You can use Gmail or you can use, a messenger app. But for now, we can work on the file at the same time here, and we are good to go. The great thing is there's only one place where this file is. We do not have to send a separate copy of this file. All the changes are made in one place and we are good to go. In part 6, we'll take a look at some more advanced features and tips, such as keyboard shortcuts. We'll revisit templates and styles, and we'll take a look at a useful add-on or an extension that we can use. I'll go back and open up my Google Doc here. So it's looking pretty good. So we've basically covered all the essentials here. We have some text in here. We can see that the styles allow us to just add some format, all right, and some order to our document. And then we can go ahead and add other types of visuals in here as well. Well, if I click on the Help tab here, we do have some shortcuts that are available. And this is pretty cool. This is one of the few documents, one of the few applications rather, that actually shows the shortcuts. Typically, we would have to do a Google search to find all the shortcuts here. So if I just click here, this will reveal the different shortcuts that are available. And it's really nice because we can see we have some organization here and we have some text formatting. So these are pretty universal. Control B's to make the text bold. Control I, italicize, U, underline, right? So pretty nice. Some are 3 key shortcuts like striking through the text, Alt, Shift plus 5. So a lot of nice options in here. Paragraph formatting, normal text. So here are the different styles that are available from, normal text and then up to heading 6 as well. To center a line, here's another kind of universal one here as well. Control E, this will center align your text. Now when you're working with objects, we can resize objects with those 3 key shortcuts there. Then we have editing, right? Control F is pretty standard across browsers. That allows us to search the page. If you want to find and replace text, we have Control plus H as well, right? As far as navigation, right? Here are the different options in here that we can use. And of course, any menu related, if you press the Alt key, this will allow us to go to a particular menu like the File tab, Edit, View, Insert. You can see the Alt down here. It gives those options as well. And so those are just some quick shortcuts that you can use. You're not going to memorize all of them. You're just going to go ahead and use the ones that are more relevant to your, your daily usage of Google Docs. Typically, I just kind of work with the text formatting, sometimes with the navigation items as well. And those are sufficient for me. So go ahead and check out those different shortcuts. Go ahead and give them a quick test run here. For example, if I want to go ahead and make this bold, I can press Control B, make it italicized, Control I, underline, Control U. And if you do it again, it pretty much will undo those changes as well. So go ahead and check out those different shortcuts. Come right back. Now, when it comes to templates and styles, now remember styles are already built in here. We have some styles such as, some basic headings. We saw how we can actually make our own or update one of these headings by formatting the text and using the update to match option here. But if we click on, when we think of styles and templates, we think of fonts and colors because that's what a template is. It's a set of fonts and colors. So down here, you'll notice that we don't really have any colors down here. So when you're working with the style, if we choose a template from the template gallery, you'll notice the difference is we'll have a different set of colors down here. So this would be a color palette that the professional has created. And those colors will be accessible as we kind of go through the document here. We already saw how we can actually just go ahead and add our own custom colors down here. So if we click on that plus icon, we can enter either the hex value or the RGB value of the color that we're looking for. We can also use this tool to go ahead and pull in any color. So we did use this earlier to pull in the color from the share button here as well. But you may want to just go ahead and start with the template. So you can actually insert part of a template into our document. So if I go down to the last page here, so if I click on the File tab and I click on New, this will not open up a new document. This will actually insert the template into my document. So let's say, I just want to go ahead and maybe I just have the cover page so far. And actually, I'll go ahead and create a new document. So I'll create a new document here. And you can see right here, we can start with a template if I want to. But if I just add some text and I started looking for some colors and I realized, you know what, I'll prefer to use a template. So I can actually click on the File tab, click on New, and I can go ahead and insert the contents of a template. So here are some templates that are available. We have meeting notes, right? And you can see just by looking at it, they all have their own font and their own set of colors that are available for that particular template here. So I just want one that has some, we'll go for a minimalist. Let's see this journal here. Let's see what colors are available. And if you click here on the left, this will show you the different tabs. So this is going to insert all these different tabs here for me. So notice if I have to click on insert. So this pretty much inserts right here into my document for me. Here's tab 1. So this is the text that I was working on, but also adds these other tabs in here. And it's pretty nice. Well, let's see what colors comes with this. So here's a nice minimalist color scheme. And let's see what the font is. So we can see the font here is Montserrat, right? It's not that default Arial. If I go back up to tab 1, you can see this is Arial, but the rest is going to be a combination of, let's see, that's heading. So we can see it's the Montserrat style. Let's see if I can, here's a to-do list. I think I'll go ahead and keep this one. So, well, what I want to do, let's see if I can delete these now, right? So I'll go ahead and delete this tab because I just want the colors that are available in here. So I'll go ahead and delete these. And there we go. I'll keep this one. This one looks pretty nice. Nice little to-do list with some check boxes in here. So I'll leave this one alone. And then let's see if I press enter or if I enter a page break. So I'll click on insert. And let's see, where is my, I'll press control enter. Okay, this is page list, that's why. So I'll click on the file tab and I'll go back to page setup and I'll convert this from page list to pages. I'll go ahead and press OK. There we go. It's kind of making a mess of things here, but let's see. So I'll go ahead and insert a page break. And let's see, we can see it's continuing the Montserrat font. And if I check the colors here, I still have access to those colors. Let's go back to tab 1. Let's see if I have access to those colors. And I do have access to those. So that's a nice way. You can just go ahead and either start with the template, or you can insert a template into your document and take advantage of the fonts and the colors that comes with that particular template. The other option when you're working in Google Docs is the capability for add-ins, or what we call extensions or add-ons. So if I click on the extensions menu here, I can click on Get Add-ons, and this will bring me to the Workspace Marketplace. And there's a lot of, I know it's a little confusing. We have extensions, we have add-ons, we have Marketplace, and now we have apps. But just think of them as add-ons, a lot of different add-ons that we can add here. We can look specifically for add-ons that work for Google Docs, which is what we're currently filtering for now. And there's a lot in here. You may be familiar with some of these. There's a lot in here. Some are free. Most of them will kind of give you a trial that you can use. So we have an AI email writer in here, plagiarism checker. We have the box integration. So it allows us to integrate a lot of other applications so that we can work more efficiently in Google Docs. Right? Now, typically when you use one of these extensions, it's going to ask you to give permission to do a lot of different things like search your documents, edit your documents. So you will need to provide different layers of authorization. What I prefer to do is just to go to the Chrome Web Store. So if you're actually using Google Chrome, which I encourage you to do for Google Docs, I can go to the Chrome Web Store. And this is where I prefer to go to grab my extension. So for example, here's Grammarly, really nice tool. And you can see it's used by over 47 million users. It's a really nice tool. and tells you right here exactly what it does. So it works just like an app that you're installing on your Android device. If you kind of the same Play Store-ish looking setup here as well. So we do have a lot of options available. So go ahead and check out the web store, or go ahead and check out the workspace, the different add-ons that are available as well. Congrats on completing the course, covering all the essentials here. We're able to just take a look at basic document operations. How can we get to Google Docs? How can we start a new document? We covered formatting and styling. We introduced working with sections, different formatting for each page section. We're able to insert a couple of elements such as images, tables, and charts. And we took a look at how we can share and collaborate. Go ahead and make use of Google Docs and enjoy. Welcome to our Google Docs Advanced course. You're learning with Mo Jones, IT professional and educator. If you have not taken our beginner course, please feel free to do so. We covered 6 lessons. For the advanced course here, we'll pick up on lesson number 7, which is organizing a document. In lesson number 8, we will insert and manage a table of contents for a professionally looking document. We'll include some academic references as well. We'll also take a look at some advanced collaboration. And once we get to lesson number 11, we'll take a look at some advanced search and navigation. So bookmarks and internal links within our document. And then we'll spend some time just taking a look at some really nice tools to be able to use in Google Docs, such as translation and voice typing, citations in the dictionary, and my favorite, using the building blocks and these smart chips. I'll go ahead and share this file with everyone. This should be in the description, so please go ahead and grab this file. Go ahead and scroll through it. We have some different sections in here, different lessons that we'll be covering. So go ahead and open up that document and come right back. First part, we'll take a look at just some steps for organizing a document. So we'll be working with styles here, and I'll go back to my file. So just a quick note. So this file is shared. You'll not be able to edit it. So just click on the File tab and click on Make a Copy for yourself. And once you do that, you'll be able to edit the file. So I'll go ahead and just make my copy here. So here's my copy. Now I can go ahead and edit this one. Now I do have some styles in here. So as you can see, I have the title style in here. I have a few heading 1 styles in here as well. And when we turn on the tabs, we can see them kind of showing up here. So remember, when we use any of those styles, the headings or titles, they appear on the tab here as well. We'll see a little later how they actually show up on your table of contents. So we'll take a look at that. So right now, it's a fundamental way to just organize your document. Now, as you can see, I have several in here. So what I'm going to do, let's just kind of see how styles work. So for this, this is the title style. You can see title here. This is heading 1. I'll go ahead and make this a heading 2. So I'll go ahead and change this to heading 2. And you can see now that I've changed this to a heading 2, we can see it's showing up here, indented as well, right? Now, what I want to do, let's say for my title, I want a different, right? I just want a different type of layout here. So I'll change this to the Georgia font, and I'll change the color here. I'll go for this really blue. And then for all of my heading 1s, right? So what I would like to do is just go ahead and format this heading 1. And I want to go ahead and make a universal change to all of my headings. I want to change the color, the font, and the size as well. So it doesn't need to be that big. I'll make it 18, and I'll change the color here. I'll go for this orange, and I'll also make it bold, and I'll also change that to the Georgia font. So now if I were to click on the styles here, I'll notice that I have an option here which says update heading 1 to match. So if I click on this option, this is going to convert all of these headings here to that format that I just specified. And that's a quick way. So you don't have to change your headings one by one. You can just use the update heading to match, whether it's a heading 1 or a heading 2 or heading 3. So I'll go ahead and click here. Let's see, I have other options in here. We can also save as our default style. So I'll go ahead and update heading 1 to match. And you can see all of my heading 1s now incorporating that particular heading. Well, for all of my heading 2s, I'll go ahead and modify this as well. And I'll also make this the Georgia font, and I'll make this a little smaller. And I'll change the color. I'm going to go for a, let's see, I already have orange in here. I'll go for a, let's see, a darker green maybe. Okay, so there we go. So now if I were to go ahead and click here, I can do the same thing. I can go ahead and update all of my heading 2s. Well, let's see if I convert this chunk of text here to a heading 2. Let's see. Now you can see my heading 2 has already been updated. So if I click here, all those changes that I have in here are actually saved. So those are just some quick ways that we can use styles. So it does a few things. It makes our document look more professional. It allows us to just kind of have some nice uniform organization in our document. And the third bonus is we get a nice structure over here. And we'll see how we can use this as a table of contents later. What I'm going to do, last thing I'll do, I'll click on options, and I want to go ahead and save as my default styles. And it tells me that all of my styles have been saved. I am good to go. Go ahead and make those changes to your styles and come right back. Welcome back. Well, we'll still visit styles a little more because for our next segment here, we want to be able to insert a table of contents. Now, just some notes in here. We've already completed a few of these steps in here. One thing that we can do is we can use collapsible headings in Google Docs. Now, I just need to make sure that I'm in pageless mode. So if I click on the File tab here and I go to Page Setup, if I make this pageless, let's see what this will look like. Okay. So I'll go ahead and press OK. And now you can see as I just kind of hover over these different styles here, I see a little collapsible heading here. So I can go ahead and collapse. And this is a really nice way. It allows us to view our document at a high level. So I can see basically everything here on one screen. So it's kind of like a table of contents when you think about it. Well, let's see, if I were to right click here, let's see if I have the capability to expand or collapse all of those headings. And let's see, here I do. So I can expand all headings of the same style. And let's see if I can collapse everything. If I right click, I can collapse everything. So it's a really nice way because if I just want to work on one portion here, I kind of get everything else out of the way and I can just focus on what I want to here as well. I'm going to go ahead and expand all the headings, and I'm going to go back to the original here, which will be the pages mode. I'll go ahead and press OK. And I want to go ahead and insert a table of contents. So I'm going to just create some space in here. And I want to insert my table of contents. Maybe I'll go for right here. So to do that, I need to click on the Insert tab. And from there, let's see where my table of contents is. Here it is all the way at the bottom. So I have three. I have plain text, I have dotted, and I have links. I'll use the links. I'll go ahead and press here. And there you go. So here is my actual table of contents. Once you click on the table of contents, I can update the table of contents. This basically rescans the document and it looks for all of these headings that I have in here. And if I were to move something around, they will actually update the table. If I click on more table of content options, let's see, I can remove the table of contents if I want to. So I'll go ahead and remove it, or I have more options. If I click on more options, Look at that. I would like to see the page numbers. There we go. So here are the page numbers for each of those. And here is the tab leader. Right, so we get the little dots in here. And I can choose whether a dashed line, a solid line. Everyone is used to this one here, so I'll use that one. And we have a little control over the heading levels here. So how far do I want them to be indented? If it's a heading 2, I'll indent just a little more, maybe a ½ inch, so we can see that that's pushing over here. So it looks pretty nice. Right? So those are the basics with the table of contents. So we do have a little more control than other document creating applications here. All right, well, I'm going to make some changes. I'm going to turn off the document tabs here so we can focus on the table of contents. And let's see, maybe I'll just put a table of contents in here. And I'll go ahead and just make this bold, just so it stands out a little bit here. And let's see, I'll press Control E so I can center align that text. Not working for me at the moment because I don't have these shortcuts enabled here. That's fine. I'll go ahead and just center it here. There we go. I'll center this too, my title. Make everything look nice and neat. So there we go. Here's our table of contents. Well, I'm going to make some changes. I'm going to bring some of these up here a little bit. I'm going to add another level, a couple of level 3s in here. So heading 3. Actually, I'm sorry, this will be heading 2. Keep it consistent. So for each section, we'll have heading 1, heading 2, and then maybe a heading 3 in here. Let's see. Let's go back up just a little bit. Okay, so this one could be a heading 3. Just want to see if it appears on the table of contents. Right. So I'll scroll back up to the top here. So I should see a change. I'll go ahead and click on the table of contents here. And I'll go ahead and update the table of contents. So you can see it's already giving us or showing us the change here. So pretty cool. It's dynamic. So we just need to go ahead and refresh as we make changes to our document, as we continue adding different headings in here as well. Well, let's see how I can interact with this. So let's see if I try to go to, let's say, advanced search and navigation. This brings me to that place in the document. Right? So pretty nice. Let's see if I go to pageless mode, if this is provides a simpler way to interact with it. So I'll click on page setup. Let's go to pageless and press OK. And no, you still kind of have to hover over it to select it. Let's see if I hold on the Control key and just simply select. No, that doesn't work. So we have to click on the table of contents to activate it, and then go ahead and click on the actual place in the document where we want to go to. What's really nice is when we convert this to a PDF, this is all clickable. So it's just a single click, and this will bring you to that place in the document. So that is the table of contents. I'm going to go back to the pages orientation here, and I am good to go. If I click on the File tab and click on Print, you can see as a PDF, this is what it would look like. And you can see it's already wants to actually just click on these different links in here, which is pretty cool. So that is the table of contents. So again, it's going to rescan the document. Even if I were to move chunks of text around, it will reshuffle and recreate the table of contents for me. So that completes lesson 7 and number 8. You can see how they're kind of tied to each other. Let's go ahead and move on to lesson number 9. So we'll insert some academic references. I'll go back to my document here, and let's just scroll down to the next part here. So at this point, you can go ahead and manage your document. So my content was pushed down to the next page. That's perfectly fine. Just going to go ahead and press the delete key a few times to make use of that space that's at the top here. So I'll go ahead and scroll down just a little bit here. right there. And by the way, we have things in here. So if you want to turn on the ruler, you can do that as well. We can see the ruler over here. Don't really need it right now, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it so I can reclaim just a little bit more space. Okay, so in here, we can add sections, we can add page numbers, so headers and footers in here that we can use. We're also going to add some footnotes, right? So let's see, we've got page numbers. So this is really kind of the same thing. And we're going to insert some footnotes in here. Now, we did cover sections in the introductory course. Now, why would you want to insert sections in your document? Well, the cool thing about having sections in your document is if you want different formatting for different pages. So right now, I'm using the standard portrait orientation, 1-inch margins, 8.5 by 11 paper. So every time I insert a new sheet, it continues that same formatting here. But what if on page 2, I want this to be more of a portrait, landscape orientation. Maybe I have some tables or charts that I want to display on there. So I can do that. And maybe I want, margins that are, instead of 1 inch, maybe they're a 1/2 inch margin, right? So I can go ahead and do that. And let's see if we can insert different headers and footers based on the different sections in here as well. So I'm going to insert let's see, maybe right here, I'll go ahead and insert a section. So here's a break, and we have a section break, which is the next page. The section breaks, they allow us to just specify the formatting for that particular place in the document. So you can do a continuous section break that basically breaks up a single page into different parts, and you can have different formatting there. But you cannot do, custom margins. That's just more about text formatting. So typically I like to do a next page section break. So let's see what happens here. So here's my next page section break. So now that I have it here on page 2, let's see, I'll click on the page setup here. Let's see if I can change. So I can't change the paper size. If I go to page list, it doesn't really work there, but I could change this to landscape if I want to. And I can go ahead and, have different margins. So on the left, I'll go for 0.5. On the right, I'll go for 0.5 as well. Once I press OK, you can see page 2 has a different orientation as opposed to page 1 that has that portrait orientation. Let's go ahead and insert a footer. So I'll go back up to the top of the document here, and I'll double click on that top space to open up the footer here. And I'm going to insert so I can either add my own content in here, or I can go ahead and insert something else. I'll go ahead and insert, let's say, give me 1 second, headers and footers. I'll go for, I'll just put my own content in here. And I'll just call this section 1. So I'll call this section 1, and I'll go ahead and center align the text, and I'll do that. Now I'll press the escape key just to get out of the header here. And if I scroll down, we can see it continues. So here's section 1 on all the pages, section 1 as well. Well, I'm going to double click in here. And let's see, now I see this option right here that says link to previous. Well, I don't want the same header. This is section 2. So let's see if I uncheck this. So it breaks the link from that header here at the top. And now I can add my own header in here. So I'll just type section 2 in here, just as an example. And I'll go ahead and center this as well. I'll make that italicized. Right. If I click on options here, I have the header format, page numbers, where I can go ahead and actually remove the header here. If I click on header format, as you can see, now that I have sections, I can apply the header and footer to just a particular section, not just the entire document. I'll go ahead and cancel that and I'm good to go. So page 1 has its own header, page 2 and page 3 has its own header as well. Right. So for this one, let's see, this is still section 2 because anything from page 2 down is section 2. If I were to introduce a section break here, this could be section 3, and I can go ahead and change the header in here as well. Let's go ahead and add a footer. So for the footer, I'll click on the Insert tab this time, and for the footer, let's see, I'll go ahead and insert maybe just a page number. So on the bottom here, I want to have the page number. And let's see, there's also another one here, which is page count. That's not what I want. Let's see if I can, let's see, 2. Let's see if I can trick this. So this is page 2 of, and then if I put the page count in here, so page 2 of 3. Let's see if this one says 3 of 3. There we go. So it's just a bit of code. And so this is page 1 of 3, page 2 of 3, and then page 3 of 3. So those are the basics when it comes to working with the footer here. If I click on more options, right, so just a repeat of what we saw at for the header there, and I can start the numbering at 1, and again I can continue from the previous section. So again, here are the sections, not just the entire document, but by section we can specify what we want to show as well. So maybe this is page 1 of section 2. So I can do that. Let's see if I click here. So just for section 2, I'll go ahead and click apply. And this one says page 1 of 3. No, it doesn't make sense. I'll go ahead and undo that. 2 of 3. Now we're good to go. All right, so just a few ways there that we can insert a custom header and a custom footer. And continuing with lesson 9 here, academic references, we have footnotes. Now, footnotes is a really nice way to let your reader know that you have provided a note that gives more context to a place in your document. So the footnote, you'll see a small indicator here, for example, the number 1. And towards the bottom of that current page, you'll have the details in here for that particular footnote. So I'll go ahead and add a footnote here. So I'll place my cursor where I want the footnote to be, and I'll click on the Insert tab here, or Insert, yeah. And here's the footnote. So I'll go ahead and click on Footnote, and you can see it does 2 things. Right here, we can see that number 1, indicating that there's a note, and down here is the actual footnote. So now I can go ahead and add my content in here. So I'll just go ahead and say footnotes. So footnotes appear at the bottom of the current page. Right. So they're going to appear at the bottom of the current page in here. Now I can also add a link in here if I want to. So if I have a link, just based on what footnote says, I can go ahead and add that here. Let's see, I'll click on the help menu here. I'll click on Docs Help, and I'll click on, let's see if there's footnotes in here. I'll type footnotes. And here we go. Same thing. Let's see if I can get a link to this article. Let's see, I'll just right click, I'll copy the link address, and then now I can just go ahead and copy and paste the link right here. If I press the space key, it turns it into an hyperlink, and there you go. So a great way just to call attention to something. So I'm explaining what a footnote is, and here's the context. I can click on this article, and this will open up the support article regarding footnotes. So pretty cool. Well, that's a good first step, but what if I want to go ahead and do something else, like add a citation? So as you can see, I'm kind of providing the source here, but what if it needs to be more in a official format, right, such as MLA? Well, I can add a citation for that. So if I click on the tools option here, here is the citations. So it opens up over here to the right, and I need to go ahead and add my sources. So I can add several citation sources. And once I do that, I can go ahead and insert them to a place in my document. And as I add some citations in here at the bottom, this will give me the capability to add the bibliography. Right. So let's see. So we will receive some guidance. It's not always fun inserting, citing sources, but we do have the structure in here. So we have different types of citations. MLA is the most common one, in my opinion, just from education. So I'll go ahead and click on Add Citation Source. And the way this works is once you find your source, it's either a book, book section, website, journal article, film, right? So depending on the source type you choose, it's going to change the secondary options below. So if I found a website that has a really nice, information on there, well, I've accessed that website, and I can simply go ahead, paste the URL in here, or I can cite it manually. So I'd rather paste the URL, and let's see what the tool will actually come up with here. So I'll go ahead and press search, and it did okay, right? But this particular article, at least the published year was not kind of mentioned there. The contributors were not mentioned. This is pretty normal, unless you're looking for a journal. If it's just a website, sometimes it's just attributed to the actual organization. So I could go with this. Let's take a look at that article actually. Let's see. So we can see we don't see a date in here. This is just not from an individual contributor. This is from just Google Docs help. And if I scroll down, right, so no date in here. So I would need to go ahead and add the date for myself, or I can just find, another article that actually has the date and actually has the contributor. So I don't want this. I could cite this manually if I wanted to. If I choose this option, now I can go ahead and I can specify the name of the author or the name of the organization. And I can go ahead and add the contributors in here. So as you can see, it's a lot of information in here that we can go ahead and access. So go ahead and check that out. I'm going to look for a source that actually has a lot of the information in here, so I can just go ahead and add that detail. Okay, so I did find this article, just Google Docs in the classroom. We can see it has the author, has a date in here as well. So let's see if I can use this one. So this is how to use Google Docs in the classroom. I'll go ahead and paste this in as a website. I'll click on search, and it didn't really find the year or the contributors. So I'll go ahead and add this manually. I'll go ahead and click on continue. I don't want to cite manually. I just want the short list here. So I'll click on continue. And here is the author. Now I do have the author's name. So I'll go ahead and put that in here. So I'll go ahead and add the name. And so here's the title. Here's the website. Publisher, I'll leave that alone. The URL is here. And I'll go ahead and put in the day. So this was published on the 23rd of November and 2023. This was accessed today. And so I'll just go ahead and fill out where the asterisks are. Right? That's what I want to go ahead and stick to. So it looks like I'm good to go. I'll go ahead and add citation source. And there you go. So now what I can do is I can go ahead and I can cite the source and I can just hover over it. And if I click on cite, this will actually insert the in-text citation. If I click on more options, I can edit the actual citation, or I can go ahead and delete it here as well. I can also click on where it says insert works cited. I'll go ahead and add another one here, and let's see what the process is to create a bibliography. Okay, so now I have 2 in here. So let's see, I'll come down here and let's make a little space in here. And let's see, I'll go ahead and add a, let's see, how to use Google Drive. And I'll go ahead and let's see if I can insert or cite this one here. Right, so we can see it's right here. So just kind of the short citation here, or maybe I should put it right here. Let's see, I can undo that. And I'll go ahead and, so I would typically just add some text down here, but I'll go ahead and add the citation here. So I'll cite Brett Beatty here. And there we go. Now I want to go ahead and insert a bibliography here, or I can say works cited. Now let's see what happens if I click on insert works cited. And let's see, so actually it actually has works cited for me already, so I can go ahead and delete this one. So here's the first one, so it's nicely cited here. Right. So information exactly where and how to get there. And let's see, I'll go ahead and dismiss this here as well. And I am good to go. All right. Now I could add, the page number in here if I wanted to kind of just link to that place in here as well. But I am good to go. Right. So again, just adding your citations, and then you can either insert the citation at a place in your document, or you can just go ahead and insert the works cited here as well. So we are good to go. For lesson 10, we'll take a look at advanced collaboration management. We'll take a look at versioning, managing permissions, and just some of the different modes that you can use when working on your document. I'll go back to my document here, and here's our section for advanced collaboration management. Now, if I click on the File tab here, I am going to go to version history. And right here, once I click on version history, this allows me to see the version history. It will appear over here on the right. And I can restore to an earlier version, or I can go ahead and rename or name the different versions as well. So I can restore. Some pretty nice things that I can do here. And this is great because remember, all of our work is being saved automatically. And so if you want to be able to access the version history, we can do that. I'll go ahead and click on version history here. And this is showing me the current version. So I can see I have my table of contents in here. I have my footnote in here. And here's my little image that I inserted here as well. Now, if I go to the revision before, here's the state of the document as of that timestamp. So let's see. We can see the table of contents here significantly. Well, we have some, looks like we just have some revisions here. And okay, so once I click here, I can restore this version. This will actually make this the current version. Now this one, if I take a look, so I do have my footnotes in here, but I don't have that image that I inserted. If I go back to the first version of this file, you can see we do not have the table of contents in here. And of course, no citation and no images as well. Well, I want to go ahead and rename this very first one. So I'll click on the more actions here and I'll click on name this version, and I'll just call this original. Let's see if it will allow me to do that. And it does. All right. This one, I was able to I'll call this TOC. This is when I inserted the table of contents. And let's see, for this one, I'll leave this one as is. So now just by naming it, it makes more sense, and I can go ahead and restore to another version. Well, let's see if I restore to the original version. Let's see what happens to the other versions. Your current document will revert to the version named original. I'll go ahead and click on restore. And here we go. So here's the original state of the file before we made any changes or added any styles in here. Well, let's see if I can go back to the other version here. Okay, so here is the other version. So it does not delete the version. It basically just pushes it down, right? So it pushes it down. So it promoted this version to position 1, or made a copy of it and promoted it to position 1. And it pushed this version down to position 2. So I'll go ahead and restore this one, which is the current state, the most recent update. Yep, there we go. I'll click on restore this version, and I'll go ahead and accept this here. And there you go. So that's a pretty nice tool, because I know the question is, if I restore an earlier version, will that delete the current version? You can see, no, it does not. It allows us to, I was able to go back and forth here as well. So that is versioning. Now let's talk about setting and managing access permissions. So we can click on the File tab, and we can actually share the file here. So we can share with others, or we can publish this to the web. Either way, it generates a type of link that can be accessed. And we need to specify the type of rights that we want to designate. Well, if I've already shared this, well, what I can do is I can go ahead, if I click on this share icon here, basically it's going to open up this dialog, and this will show me all of the people that currently have access. And for example, and here we can see the type of access that they have. So it's a matter of step 1, clicking on that share icon. And then step 2, we can go ahead and change the rights or the permissions for one of the people that has access to this particular file. So we can change it from editor to viewer, right? So they can only view the file. Or if you want to remove the access, this is a big question all the time. How do I just remove the access? So right here, everything is right here in one place for us, which is pretty cool. So we can do that for each individual person that we have actually shared the file with. So that is how we can go ahead and specify the permissions or remove the individual access. You also will just want to be cognizant of how you're sharing the file. So the safest way is just to share it based on email address. So you can see the general access here is restricted. So only people with access can open it. If you do share a link, so the second option here is anyone with the link can access. So you just want to make sure, again, the safest way is just to share with individuals. Go ahead and add their email addresses in here. And then if you're sharing, let's say with inside of your organization, then you can send a link during a meeting, during Google Meet, or another virtual platform as well. In this segment, we'll take a look at some advanced search and navigation. We'll introduce some navigation items in addition to our table of contents and our tabs as well. Now, I'll go ahead and take a look at some of the search options, in particular, find and replace. So if I click on the Edit tab here, at the very bottom, I can see here is find and replace. I can also press Control H, and that will open up find and replace for me. If I want to perform a generic search, just search, I can use Control plus F. That will allow me to search for a specific term throughout the entire document. So I'll go with Control F first. We'll open up the Find dialog. And then we'll have the capability to convert it into a find and replace. Here's what the find and replace looks like. So you can see I already have a search term in here. So go ahead and delete this out. Right. So we can keep it simple, just do a basic find and replace. Down here on the bottom, we have some more complex search options. Most of these only work for Google Sheets though. So some of these will not be available for Google Docs. We can click on Help, and this will open up another dialog box for us. But for right now, I just want to go ahead and do a basic search. So I'll press Control F, and I'll go ahead and enter my search term. So I can go ahead and enter any term that I want. So you can see it can be an entire part of the text or part of the text, and it shows up here. Now I can navigate, or I can just press the Enter key, and this will navigate to each instance of that search term that I've entered here as well. I'll go ahead and change this to search. So we can see we have the phrase search 3 times in my document here. There's the second one, and then here's the third one down here. Well, what I would like to do is replace that search with, let's say, lookup. So I'll click on the more options here. Here's the find and replace dialog. And in here, I'll just go ahead and enter my lookup. And I can either replace just the current instance of it, or I can replace all instances of search to lookup. So this is a great way just to make changes or to clean up. Maybe we have some weird characters in here. I'll go ahead and click on replace all, and I'm good to go. So you can see it's been changed to lookup here, and my table of contents also should show lookup as well. Well, what if I have some weird characters in here? Let's say, I have some asterisks before some of my headers, like that. So if I want to get rid of them, I could do this manually, but I'll go ahead and see if I can replace all of them here. So I'll just type the asterisk in here, and I'll go ahead and replace all of them with nothing. Let's see if I leave that blank, what will happen here. I'll go ahead and click on, let's just replace this instance and see what happens. So we can see it worked. It just deleted those 2 spaces that were taken up by the asterisks. So I'll go ahead and click on replace all. So that's a nice way just to go ahead and clean up your document. If you click on the Help tab here, this opens up another page that just allows us to enter some more advanced expressions. So it does use expressions that are available in Google Docs and Google Sheets. Most of these will only be available in Google Sheets. But if we scroll down, here's the architecture that's being used. And let's see, if I click on the drop down here, here's some, some syntax based search or some wildcard based searching in here as well. If I scroll down, here are some other options. And here's a table of common regular expressions. So if you have the need to perform any of these expressions, here is the expression on the left, the description, the example, and the matches as well. So the period represents any character in the given position. So D followed by a period will give us these results, and these will not match as well. So if you need help beyond the basic search and find and replace, here we have the list of common expressions. As far as navigation, we can see that we have the tabs here that we can use. We also inserted our table of contents as well. So those are 2 quick ways to be able to navigate our document. I'm going to minimize the tabs here, and I'm going to go down. I'll go back down here to advanced lookup and navigation. So I'll go here. So it's nice that we have a table of contents that allows us to jump to different parts of our document. We can also press Control Home to go to the top of the document. We can also press Control End to go to the end of the document. But it would be nice if we can have a way to go back to the table of contents. So let's see what we can do here. We can go ahead and I can go ahead and insert a bookmark. Bookmarks allows us to link to any place in the document. So the first step is just to go ahead and, so the first step is just to insert the bookmark. So you can insert the bookmark anywhere in the document that you want to. And then the second part of that is to link to that bookmark. Okay. And then of course you would need to go ahead and find a place to show your bookmarks. So we're going to insert them, link to them, and show them. Maybe a small table that we can use to, just like a little reference table here as well. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to go ahead and utilize bookmarks and internal links. So I'm going to go back to the top of my document here. And I can add a bookmark, let's say right here for my table of contents. So I'll go ahead and click on the Insert tab, and I'm going to insert a bookmark. And that's it. We can see the bookmark is right here. I can actually copy the link right here to the bookmark. And this way I can go ahead and use that link a little later on. So here's my table of contents. Now I'm going to go down to page 2. I want to be able to get back to my table of contents. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a link. So if I click on the Insert tab here, I can insert a link. We can also press Control K, and that will open up the link dialog for us. So I'll go ahead and add my text right here. I want this to be normal text though. And I'm going to insert a link. So here's the link. So I need to go ahead and add the text. What do I want it to say? And then I can go ahead and link to a heading or a bookmark, or I can just paste a link right here as well. So I do want to link. So here are the different headings. So that's why the heading ones are important. So I can link to any one of those headings, just like my table of contents, and I can link to bookmarks. So here's the link for my table of contents here. So I'll just say table of contents. And I'll go ahead and click on here. And there you go. So here is my table of contents. So now if I click on it, I can go right back to my table of contents. And then I can go ahead and use my table of contents to go back to that particular section. So that's a nice way, right? So that's how bookmarks work. We can bookmark to any place. Now what I'd like to do is to have this available at the top of every page. Maybe I'll align this to the right. Right? So this would be my table of contents. Let's see if I can copy. Let's see if I can copy this and paste it to another page here. Let's change this to normal text. I don't want to do that. All right, let's right click and see what options we have. So we have paste. So I'll go ahead and paste. And it doesn't put it there. I'm gonna make a little more space here to put that. So I'll right click and I'll click on paste. Here's my table of contents, and it does preserve the link. Right? So I can just go ahead and click on the bookmark. It brings me right there. And I'm good to go. I'm going to update my table of contents here. There you go. The page numbers are showing now. And I'll go back down to page 3. So we can see all of my pages now has a quick way to get back to the table of contents. So now it's truly a navigable document. So we can link to places inside of our document. Now, as you can see, we can link to the table of contents. I can also link externally. So if I wanted to add a link here, I'll just say link to Google support. Actually, I'll leave it here. I'll go ahead and press Control K. And I'll type in support. And right here, I'll put the actual URL. So support.google.com. gmail.com. And let's see, I'll go ahead and click apply. And let's see if this link will work for me. There you go. And there's the help. So pretty cool. So those are different ways we can link. So we can link to either a heading inside of the document, or we can link to bookmarks that are inside of the document as well. We can also link to external sources, in this case, like a website, which is pretty cool. Let's see. And I think that's it. So now I can pretty much go back and forth. If I don't have the tabs turned on, sometimes we can gain some more space by turning the tabs off. Now I can pretty much navigate my document, go back and forth regardless of the page that I'm actually on. Let's take a look at some modern tools in Google Docs. We'll take a look at some of the different tables, building blocks, smart chips, and we have translation and voice typing as well. I'll go back here. I'm going to insert a page break. So I'll press Control Enter. Just want some space down here, and I'll move my works cited down here just a little bit. Just want to make some space to add some content. I could just to remove the works cited, but I'll leave some space here as well. Now, what I would like to do, if I click on the Insert tab, here's where we can find some really nice tools such as smart chips, Dropdowns, and we also have what's called building blocks. So these are really nice interactive fields that we can add to our actual document here. So let's see, I'll go ahead and insert. I'll start with, okay, so we have smart chips. So this is pretty cool. Right? So smart chips basically gives us some interactive elements that we can work with. These are equivalent to fields in Microsoft Word. So if I just want to enter a date field here, I can click on date, and it's asking me to put in a date. So I could put a date in there. I could also go ahead and set the time if I want to. Let's say this was on the 3rd at 8 a.m. You can even set the time zone. I'll go ahead and press OK. And that's it. So nice little field here. I can go back in there and I can go ahead and change the date if I want to. And so it's a pretty nice tool. Right? Now, if I want to maybe, instead of, adding the content right away, I may want to go ahead and do something like just put a placeholder so that whoever is using this document, they can put in the actual date. So let's see if I can delete this one. I can. I'm going to click on Insert again, and I'll use a placeholder chip this time, and I'll go ahead and click on Date. So you can see it just leaves the date there, and now we can interact with it. I'll go ahead and press the Enter key. Looks like I'm frozen here for a little bit. There we go. And I'll go ahead and insert another smart chip. So this one will be for a person. And I'll keep on inserting a few more, right? So I'm just collecting information. I'll go for, let's say, so I have a date, a person, maybe a placeholder. And then I'll go ahead and insert one more. This will be for any type of file for reference. So there we go, right? So pretty nice. So now I can come in here, I can fill out this information. I can go ahead and put in the date, right? So maybe we're just collecting information. I'll put in Friday the 7th, put in a time as well. So let's say 10 a.m. I'll go ahead and press OK. I'll click on the person here to add a person. Okay, so I can search my contacts here. So I'll go ahead and add that. As far as a place, right, we can search for a place. So this is pretty cool. I'll search for M&T Bank Stadium, Baltimore, Maryland. I'll go ahead and add that here. And you can see it's pretty nice. So it just kind of opens up the little preview here. If I hover over it again, it gives me the preview. And I can actually click on preview here. And this will open up over here to the right. So it's a pretty nice way to just kind of modernize your document. I can go ahead and zoom out, zoom in, and here's basically the Google result for the Baltimore Ravens home stadium there. So pretty cool. What about a file? So if I want to go ahead and add a file for context, I can search for a file. I'll try this one. Okay. So as you hover over it, you kind of see the preview of the actual chart. Here's the preview of the email, right? So I can send an email right there, or I can go ahead and send a video invitation or send a message. So those are smart chips, so pretty cool. Now, what if I have a list of tasks? I can go ahead and insert some drop downs in here. So I'll go ahead and add a drop down. Now, this is pretty cool. So I have some preset ones in here, such as project status or review status, right? So I can go ahead and use these if I want to, or I can go ahead and create a new drop down if I want to as well. So these are actually in here for us to be able to use. So I'll go ahead and enter a few tasks here. So let's see if I can, give me 1 second here. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and just add a task. Maybe I'll go for a bulleted list. Let's see. I'll go for a bulleted list here. And this will just be task 1, task 2, and then task 3. Then I'll just make some space over here. Let's see if I can insert that drop down right here. And this one will just be for the review status. And now for each one, I can go ahead and add a quick review status in here. I'll go ahead and add one more. And there you go. So here are my different tasks. So I'll go ahead and click on. So this one is, I'll say this one is in progress. This one is under review. And this one is approved. I can go ahead and click on that checkbox here, which was hiding under my checklist menu here. And there we go. So pretty nice. So these are all interactive elements that we can use to modernize our experience when creating a document, especially when we're ready to distribute or share this document with others. We have more interactive elements in here that we can use. Now let's take a look at some other options in here. So we have what's called building blocks. So these are pre-made tables that has interactive elements that are available for each of the cells. So think of, in this case, it would be more realistic if I were to create a small table and then, just drag the different elements in here. So let's see if I can drag that person into here. I can. All right, so there's the person. And let's see, I want the date. So I'll go ahead and drag the date in here. And then our first option is M&T Bank Stadium. I'm going to move this over to the right a little bit. So I'll just click here and I'll grab the move table just to move it over because that map is going to block everything here. So I'll go ahead and drag the place in here. All right, so option 1, Mimi is offering a tour of M&T Bank Stadium. So we can drag and drop those smart chips into a table, which is a really nice way to go. But we don't necessarily need to do that. What we can do is we can just go ahead and insert an actual building block. So if I click on the Insert tab, here are some building blocks. So we have meeting notes, email draft, simple decision log. I'll click on View More. I want to see the different building blocks that are available. So they're called building blocks, but they're really tables that has interactive elements. So for example, if I were to insert meeting notes, which is pretty popular, this will allow me to pull in a calendar item and be able to insert information from the calendar event. And I can add notes, and I can even add some quick action items in there as well. So I'll go ahead and click on Insert. And I need to search my calendar. So I'll go ahead and do a quick search here. Here's project tracking today at 12. I'll go ahead and click here. And there you go. You can see that it has inserted the details here. So here are my attendees. And I'll go ahead and put some notes in here. And I'll just say review Q1 projects. And there we go. Now, as far as action items, I'll say, you know what, bring some cafe. Wait. And we'll go over pending items as well. And I'll go ahead and check off bring cafe here. Right? So I'll go ahead and click here. I already took care of that, so we're good to go. So pretty nice. Now, if I go over here to the left, I can actually email the meeting notes if I want to. So that's pretty nice. So we can see Google Docs is integrating with our calendar and our Gmail as well. If I click on the more actions here, I can go ahead and also attach files to the meeting notes here as well, which is pretty cool. Then I can just go ahead and send it out to my actual recipients. So that's a really nice one, especially if you're in charge of, just keeping notes or kind of managing meetings as well. All right, let's take a look at another one. So we have a few in here. As far as communication, here's an email draft. So like a template that we can use. We have 3 in here. So here's the meeting notes again. Here's a simple decision log. So we have quite a few that's in here. Here's a detailed decision log. We have some in here for project management. Here's assignments. But let's take a look at a sales contact list. Right. Here's a sales contact list. I'll go ahead and insert this. Here's my sales contact list. And let's see what I can do with this list here. I'm going to close the building blocks pane on the right. I'll dismiss this little comment here. Okay, so here we go. So we have a name. Now this person field actually will pull up the contacts from your contact list. So this should actually be email because it's going to populate the email. So I'll change the column name to email. This will be name. And okay, so here's maybe I'll put the company in here. Right, so we're doing business with corporations. So we'll put the company in here. And this is find the opportunity, different types of sales opportunities, small to extra large. The stage, so what stages are we at in terms of closing the deal? A couple in here. And then we have another one here for file. So this is notes. I'll go ahead and change this one actually. And I'll say, you know what, let's figure out the last time that we made a contact with this prospect here. So I do need to change this. So these are expecting files. So I'll go ahead and delete these. So again, these are just smart chips that are in a table, but this is pre-built for us. Now, this column is still expecting files in here. So I need to go ahead and change that to dates. So I'm going to right click on the table and lots of table stuff. But if I scroll down to the bottom, here's the table properties. And I just want to format the type of data that is expected in that last column. So I'll right click. Here's table properties. And if it doesn't open up to the column, we can just expand the column here. So this is relative to the column that we're working with. So notice the stage column uses dropdowns. Opportunities uses dropdowns. This one is still expecting a file. So I'll go ahead and change this to date. And now I can go ahead and insert my placeholders for dates in here. Remember, we can copy and paste it as well. So I'll go ahead and copy that to the clipboard. And I'll just paste it a few times here. So pretty cool. Now, if I were to insert another row to the bottom to add another prospect in here, another sales contact rather, well, let's see, is it going to carry over? our 4 interactive columns here, and they will. If I just press the tab key here, that inserts another record, and we can see it carries over all the data for us, which is pretty cool. Right. I'll go ahead and fill out this first one. So there we go, Mimi J with MJ Consulting. This is a large opportunity, and we are under the follow-up. The last time we contacted was on the February 3rd. So we're good to go. So that's a really nice use of a building block. Welcome back. Well, let's take a look at one more tool here. If I click on the Tools tab this time, there's a few options in here, but I want to go ahead and take a look at the voice typing option here. There's also a shortcut to pull this up. So this is Control-Shift-S, and this is a pretty nice tool. So this will convert our speech into text, and let's go ahead and give it a try. Let's see how this will work here. I'll go ahead and go down to my last page here, and I'll go ahead and insert. Yep, so I'll go right there. I'll click on the Tools tab, and I'll click on Voice Typing. Now, when you run it for the first time, it does ask you to just grant permissions to use your microphone. So I'll go ahead and click here where it says click to speak, and let's see, I'll go ahead and just add some text in here. In this course, we took a look at some advanced features of Google Docs. We were able to create styles, period, next line. We're able to add and manage a table of contents, comma, insert academic references, comma, and explore advanced collaboration options, period. We're also able to integrate document navigation and explored some of the more modern tools as well, period. At this point, we are checking out the speech-to-text tool, period. Okay, so that was pretty cool, right? So we're able to give it some other commands like go to the next line, add a period, add a comma. Let's see, I'll go ahead and just make some corrections here. Right, so not bad. It works a lot better than some of the other speech-to-text tools that I've used here as well. So really nice. Let's see if I click on. Let's see if I click here, I can change the language. Yeah, I wonder if this is the input language. This is most likely the output language. Okay, so it's a pretty nice tool. So that is so this is the actual spoken language. If I do change this to another language, it will pick up on the language that I'm speaking and actually convert it. So if I tried to change this to Spanish, for example, and as I talk, it does not convert my speech into Spanish. It's just outputting English there. I'll go ahead and delete that here. I'll go ahead and close the translation, and that's it. Other tools in here, we have the capability to translate the document. We also have a dictionary. So the dictionary will pop up right here on the right side, and we can just go ahead and search for a term and find synonyms. So that's a pretty nice option as well. So a very nice modern experience here for Google Docs. So congratulations on completing the course. Just as a recap, we're able to create text styles. We worked with table of contents. We inserted a few academic references as well, citations, footnotes, and we went to the task of just managing collaboration, right? So how can we stop sharing a file, and how can we manage the type of access that people have to our document? We're able to integrate document navigation several options there. We're going to choose the one that works best for you. And of course, we're able to explore some modern tools as well. So congrats on completing the course.